Jumping right into it.
Yeah, we are. We are. Talk about cold open, just going right in. Talking about the cut job, the edits.
Yeah, there was 30 minutes of warm up that was like planned, but it had to be cut for time because of the design.
Funny. It feels like there's about 30 minutes missing.
Yeah, I've heard this cliche sometimes. People say like sometimes a movie feels long, a 2 hour movie feels long because it should have been 2.5 hours long.
It would have been perfect.
Yeah,
So
like the way it would have affected pacing.
I'm a little conflicted about it, right? Because I don't super mind if a work wants me to see more. It feels like it ends a little soon.
Yeah.
Because that's like a mark of good work. If it's like, oh, I want to see more. Like give me more.
I did. I wanted to just from the aesthetic, like even if the movie was hot trash, which I don't think it was. I ended up watching the movie twice. And the first time was like a little cold, and the second was like, no, this is kind of beautiful. I still would have loved to see more of that Babylonian visual motifs and those mobile suits with those gas mask looking eyes.
It took a steampunk direction in its design. I really liked the goggle suits and the rafflesia or whatever, the crack and flower looking thing.
Oh, the Rafflesia.
Which I guess is a flower in real life, and it looks so much like the real life flower.
It's gonna be like a maybe like a running theme where we talk about what could have been as we talk about this movie. But did you see what the initial design for the Rafflesia was?
Uh yeah. So before watching the movie, I read that Zionic Scanlation's article where it was like Tomio's interview, kind of about like F91 and what the goal was and what happened. And I have it up right now. I have those original sketches.
Man, I love that angel looking design that they picked. And apparently the note was that it looked too cool for what it was going to be used for. But it looks beautiful. It looks like a Final Fantasy boss or something. Like
yeah,
it's on another level.
One of those ultimate weapons or whatever.
But I guess it makes sense in the context of like it's the final climactic battle with Iron Mask, who I'm sure we'll get to talk about on this podcast, which by the way is Pleasant Evenings book mobile suit. Pleasant Evenings Book Club is our flagship show, and when we watch Gundam, we like to call it Mobile Suit Book Club F91. Right? I guess there's nothing too crazy here.
No,
I'm Roberto. This is Corbin. Fun fact, it's called F91 because that's the number of characters that get introduced in the run of the story.
Really?
It's actually called F91 because of the number of scenes that were cut out.
Damn. It do be like that.
It makes it a strange animal. Like I can't just approach it like a movie. It's like this, like I don't know, like a Rosetta Stone or something, like Heraclitus fragments. Like I'm just like picking through like what's implied through these remnants.
Yeah, it's like someone took a mosaic, smashed the mosaic, and then tried to put it back together again, or I don't know, puzzles without the original image.
Yeah. The famous prank where you take 3 pigs and label them 1, 2, and 4.
That's a mean joke.
Yeah, I've never been in a situation where I've had to wrangle pigs, but if I did,
no, I'd be the one to fall for that too, and I would struggle for a while.
Yeah, I would wouldn't let go. Oh yeah, we're just gonna talk about the ending, so maybe the digression's a good call to Go back to the beginning.
Yeah, maybe summarize a little bit. So I think it opens pretty cool right off the bat, right? You got the space station. It's called Frontier 4,
Yeah.
and there's a cool effects seeing the laser cutting through the black screen, and then it opens the space station or space colony.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I can only imagine what that would have been like in a movie theater. Apparently, this was the first anime that Sunrise made where the initial elements were drawn for widescreen,
Yeah,
like
that's
even the
right.
materials they drew on. And I can really imagine being in a dark room and then just seeing those bursts of heat come out. I guess that's I think in Aliens they do a similar intro.
Yeah, I think they do. It's been a while since I've seen that one.
But yeah, it just gets started. Like you see these mobile suits come in. It's very it immediately sets up tension because then you see what normal life on Frontier 4 looks like, and even that is technically like so impressive. Like there's so many like the crowds are all like so well drawn and busy, and they're all like doing different things simultaneously.
Peacetime's been good too. Like these buildings have kind of a neat classical neoclassical aesthetic to them.
Yeah, it felt like a old European city in the I don't know like the 1910s or 20s like a
Yeah, modernized but not quite.
yeah, which is which is odd because this was made in the future. Like they they made it be that way.
Yeah, yeah. It was a choice. It was a choice for the sake of Cosmo Babylonia.
That's how you know. Like all these regressive aesthetics, you got to look at them with suspicion.
Yeah, you do. You know when you pass a House of Usher or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
every bit and piece of scenery informs what's going on. It fits together all also perfectly to make the perfect shitstorm.
Yeah, that's true. And when that shitstorm starts, like these first, I don't know, 20 to 30 minutes are perfect.
Oh, they're great. They're amazing for sure.
Like I guess with War in the Pocket, you know, like the kid isn't really involved in the fighting. It is really scary from his perspective when see like the bullets fly over his head. But he's already like he knows to expect that. Like you're already familiar with mobile suits from his perspective. Like you got used to seeing that. The feeling of like these mobile suits coming in just wrecking shit when you're doing like a I don't know like a little beauty pageant, like a local fundraiser. I don't know the fair.
But yeah, no, crazy scenes and the crowds of people involved running away, and there's some graphics things here that presented a lot of fragility.
Like the one that stuck out to me. I mean, there's a lot of like gruesome. Like once it gets started, like even the mobile suits, I kind of feel bad for the one that gets his head kicked off.
Yeah, you do.
But man, like I guess the one that like the ones that catch you off guard, I guess they happen a little later. Like once we're already introduced to the main crew. What feels like maybe like our Shangri La crew for the movie. There's when this kid, I don't know, Arthur, I think was his name, when he dies.
Yeah, he gets
It's
thrown
right.
against
It's
a
not even
wall and
like
just
a
like
laser. It's just the force of everything happened just pushes him against the wall.
I thought the lady that got hit on the head on the bullet was also memorable.
Yeah, that one. Because that's such that feels like such an accident. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it does.
and then they have like the she's dead and the baby's like trying to wake her up.
Powerful shit, powerful scenery for sure.
Yeah, I mean these. Yeah, when they started, I was already like, okay, this might be like once again because I've been on a just upward trajectory on Gundam. Like it really has felt like each one is special in its own way, and yet finds a way to top the one before.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for
And
sure.
here I was like, so we're getting like some like deep humanity that I felt like was maybe missing in all the politicking and catching up that the Char's counterattack had.
Yeah, I kind of prefer when Gundam takes a personal direction.
Yeah, like when it starts to get this like lived in environment that then it feels you feel the impact of it, which just through like the way it's rendered when it gets messed up. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're introduced to our main characters, and it's
Cecily, Fairchild, we got
Seabook,
Seabrook,
Seabook.
Arno,
We got his sister Reese,
Reese.
Reese.
We do a bad job of these names. We had Arthur briefly.
Uh, yeah, poor Arthur. She seemed nice. It was I don't know if you want to play the game of like what element reminds you of other motifs in Gundam shows. Like Reese is like gave me big Reina vibes,
Um,
and Cecily was like our Sayla.
I got a lot of vibes from Cecily a little bit.
Lala.
Yeah.
I speak on that.
All right. So, I mean, this is gonna escape from the summary a little bit, but as the story goes on, after Seabook and friends escape from Frontier 4, um, Cicely gets caught up in being a member of the Rona family as Barra Rona, and she chooses that side of Cosmo Babylonia, Crossbone Vanguard for a bit, right?
mm.
She shows some impressive new type abilities, or at least some ingenuity.
Oh, we got the Char look-alike for our movie. Like impressed with her new type potential.
Yeah, right.
And there's something to that. And then there's that one character, Rosemarie. I want to say Anna Marie, who
I think it was
looks like Lala,
Anne Marie. Yeah,
and she's like jealous.
kind of like Lala doesn't work out for her, but what's kind of cool about Barrona's Sicily is that it does work out a little bit better for her as a rising new type that's crossing and navigating these sides when also being, I guess, in love with the main character.
Yeah, like I can only talk about like what could have been. Like she's like the most like not wasted. I think she gets like the bulk of the emotional and even like thematic I don't know, work that occurs in the movie.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
Seabook just gets to have his straightforward mission, but yeah, but she's like caught between like where she came from, like her weird situation. She's it's like her decision between capital A aristocracy and democracy is the one that carries weight with it.
Right. It's hyper ingrained in this family drama.
Yeah. That's where like she reminds me. That's I mean I guess like the framing of who's the Char or whatever, like who's isn't the best framing, but that's where I think of like Sayla, because she was the daughter of what would have been the leader of Ascendant Xeon. And
Yeah.
it was like if things had worked out differently, she might have gotten used in a different way. Like because Sayla got to, but Sayla had like enough support and independence to be able to say no to Char saying get on this horse with me. I guess like we can. This is a good way to get back into the summary. Like they're evacuating, and Cecily gets separated from the crew as they're trying to make their way out into an escape pod. And we find out that the people that are invading are trying to find her because she is the group that's invading is from a noble family. They're from the region, right? They're from Frontier 4. They're just like a different part of it.
Um.
That was like, there's a lot that's like kind of unclear about.
I don't think that was ever really clarified.
They're from somewhere. They're not from Frontier 1. I don't know. A lot of the details, see, is where I thought this was going to be like a break free. Like, I know it's going to be intended to be like a Gundam for a new era, but it has some trouble standing on its own two legs.
Yeah, yeah. No, there are times that it suffers.
just like I guess like it doesn't matter exactly where, as long as you get the gist of who's who and what they're doing.
Right. I guess why they're doing it, how they're doing it.
Yeah, but so the who is family,
Ronas.
the Ronas. I guess they're nobility. Somehow nobility gets to be a thing. I mean, we see a lot of castles. Yeah, they're nobility in the region who are mounting their own revolution against the Federation because they think democracy's gone too far and they need noblesse oblige to be the main motivating factor in politics.
I guess it's pretty much more Xeon without the
Without the
philosopher
republicanism.
of the Xeon Dakun or whoever.
Yeah, this is like I don't know, like I don't know if Edmund Burke decided he wanted to start his own revolution in France.
You know, I think there's internet people that think feudalism is like the best way to do things.
That's right. You know, when I first started hearing about alt right as a term, now it just kind of means like I don't know, shithead. But it used to mean uh, feudalist shithead.
I think that's what I guess that's what Cosmo Babylonia is some alt right shithead things.
Yeah. I feel like there was an interesting like critique because I did communicate that perspective, like that grandfather explaining his worldview to Cecily. Oh yeah, so what happens is the crew gets away. Seabook, his sister, and their friends they get away. Cecily gets taken back by the Ronas, by the Crossbone Vanguard, which is their military arm.
Looks an awful like that emblem looks a lot like Constantine's symbol. Very
Yeah, very Third Reichy.
very fash.
Or yeah, that fast thing of like looking back at tradition, return with a V kind of aesthetics. Yeah, and Cecily, she's kidnapped, but in a very invited way. Like, come join us. It can be so much. You can be so much for us and for this new moment. This is new historical moment for us.
Yeah, I mean, what they offer her to be queen pretty much right off the bat, right?
Yeah, I got so. I wish this was a show. Like, I do like the movie that we got.
It just it feels so stunted and just kind of shit on before it could really get to do anything. You know, this could have been awesome as a 50 episode format. It could have been amazing with another two
Yeah,
movies. I guess there's a manga that kind of continues the story of F91 and Rona and the Crossbone Vanguard.
yeah. I'm looking into those. I'm trying to see where I can read those.
I got I can kind of write to you. I got an app with the translation on
Oh,
there.
they're
So
there.
yeah,
Okay, okay. We'll circle back to that. I want to get my hands on that. But like the stuff that was gonna happen with Cecily enmeshed in this world, that there was gonna be a religious organization called the Cosmo Crux, where one of director Tomino's ideas was that Cecily would eventually gain popularity as Bear Rona, and in the middle of Cosmo Epilogue ceremony, make a speech exposing the deceptions of the Cosmo aristocracy. Like so much could have happened.
we get so focused in I guess the ontology of what could have been.
Yeah, it is just present, this lost future.
Which I guess is why I like what we got, right? Like you know
Yeah,
the it's still badass that Sicily rejects this queenhood ultimately.
yeah. I wish she got a better speech than she did.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, there's something desperate and raw about her just pleading. Like, it just kind of happened.
I had no choice.
I don't know what to do.
I thought you were dead.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit. I don't know. I guess you could like levy the existentialist radical freedom critique at her, but in her situation, one of the scary mobile suits comes and shines that bright light on her and picks her up. Like at the very least, you're gonna go on the ride. You're gonna go to the castle. Like that's hard to avoid that, and then everyone's around you there. It seems like a tough thing to navigate.
Yeah. I mean, the equivalent is kind of someone taking a gun to your head and be like, come with me."
Yeah, and it is also, it is also tempting not to like Cecily. Like she's very headstrong about it when she meets Iron Mask. She's like, "Screw you!" Like Iron Mask is so funny in this. Um,
Yeah, he is. I love his reasoning for wearing the mask.
it's just he got cucked.
Yeah. Yep.
There's basically he's like walking around like Darth Vader, but like every scene he's in, he either mentions his divorce or his mask or both.
Yep. Yep.
And like it's it's his first line. My wife left me, and now I've become this man.
Blame your mother.
That's why I'm this weirdo. Like check, she's headstrong. I think the grandfather, which was the initial thing, we ended up going full circle. I think this is where we were in the grandfather does convince her a little bit.
He's more I mean he's less like super villainly than Karatzo.
Yeah. And I'll say also, I'm sure that I think there's a reading there, and whatever. Yeah, let's just talk about. I feel like when they unveil the evil plan, the bugs and all that, it turns out that the guy with the eye patch didn't know about it.
Yeah, a lot of a lot of these factions within factions become, I guess, obvious at that point.
I feel like Iron Mask becomes Fu Manchu a little bit.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does.
Because you have like this like structural problem of aristocracy, of these like embedded like power structures that then become a reactionary force, and then this evil like genocidal thing happens, and it's like, oh, but the nice grandfather didn't know about it, and neither did the nice eye patch man who's like honorable and noble. It's just this one freak.
I guess he's the Garma Daikun, Fu Manchu of the family.
Because I feel like it could have been. I mean, I guess you could read the critique as it being like, there are elitist, aristocratic, reactionary elements that see themselves as nice in this way, but in as the book says, revolutions that attain power through violence can only think of maintaining that power
Through
with
more
violence.
violence, violence begets more violence.
I guess you could think of Iron Mask as this kind of like, okay, so you have like this, reactionary, like highly hierarchical way of looking at the world. And, these people will make alliances, will make plans with fascist thugs, and then, I hate to get too internet about things, but they do Pikachu face when it turns out that the fascist thugs want to, you know, want to take power.
Yeah, right. I mean, the Pikachu face works here.
Yeah. Right, like all the fascist nations in Europe like came about like in large part just from reaction to socialist movements. I'm like, well, we can't have that. That's too democratic.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
I guess there's that, but there's a part of me that's like, I wish that um Iron Mask didn't swallow the entire sin of like the villains of the movie.
No, because I didn't feel that until I guess it got kind of pressed down my throat, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess he is, but there's still bad grandpa here.
Yeah. That's what kind of like scary about that ending. They have that touching reunion. They defeat Iron Mask in a really cool sequence that maybe if we circle back, maybe we'll get to, just for the sake of format. I don't
Get
know.
into it, right?
And then it says like the story. This is only the beginning, because the eye patch guy, whose name is
Is it
Zabine,
Zebine?
Zabine.
Yeah, Zebine Charu. Oh, he's the char character.
Oh, I just hit the. Oh, okay. So yeah, we're
He's
not so crazy for saying this is the char of this. This is the Garma of that. Yeah, he like he spares them. Like even though Cecily double crossed, whatever, triple crossed the crossbone, I guess he was still like worried about about her well-being. Maybe because of his attachment to aristocracy, like no, she's still got the special blood. But like he like lets her go, and they move on, and it looks like overall maybe like their military project like is just gonna continue steamrolling. It doesn't seem like there's a strong resistance to it right now.
Yeah, the Federation seemed awfully incompetent mobilizing anything this time.
Yeah, maybe because they're so far away. I mean, like, yeah, I guess when Frontier One gets taken over, they get the paint job. They get that really big eagle across it, which is really cool. You see that robot go through, or I guess maybe it's a machine. I don't know. That painting of the colony looked really cool.
Yeah,
You get all those flags, and you get all these people like just like supporting the new regime.
probably kind of have to. If a new regime shows up on your colony, like,
The Simpsons joke where the aliens invade, and like I for one welcome our alien overlords.
oh, I've heard that
Trying to
reference
get them.
before. Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I think it's in a Treehouse of Horror.
Oh, okay, okay.
Continuing the
The Simpsons references.
yeah.
Did the Simpsons like, predict everything ever?
I think
Isn't
it's
it?
like just like a numbers game.
You were a TV show for long enough with enough seasons, and sooner or later
Yeah.
you're gonna hit something.
I think the writers are very bright, so like the jokes that they made about things reflect the society that they lived in, which is the society we live in now. So it's less of maybe them predicting, except for like the specific stuff, which I think is just like a numbers game, like so and so's gonna marry that person or whatever. I think it's more like we just keep reliving the same 12 years over and over again.
Right, right, like that cover of "We Didn't Start the Fire."
I don't know which one you're referring to, but yes.
I think Fall Out Boy did. We didn't start the fire, so he's been burning whatever.
Follow. I'm gonna check this out. It might cause me some damage to hear it, but
It gives it's good. It does give me some anxiety though. I'm like,
it
wow, not much has really changed. Good grief.
right. But speaking of the people who are, I guess, fighting I don't know, what a stupid dumb transition. Yeah. So we got Cecily over on that side, but let's go back to Seabook. Like, if Frontier One is in like an a Vichy France kind of situation, Seabook has linked up with the Resistance, which is hiding out in some other place. I think Frontier 3, because when Seabook randomly cuts to being at Frontier 4 later after defending an incoming attack from. Oh, are they on Frontier 1? I think they're on Frontier 1.
I thought they
Is
just
that.
stayed posted up at like Frontier One the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're hiding out in Frontier 1, which the Rona wanted because of its resources. Eventually find out that they don't even want the people. They were planning on eradicating, or at least not the Ronas, not the nice Ronas, just that one evil one with the mask.
Iron Mask Man.
How do you secretly manage to build genocide ready robots?
I swear Grandpa ordered him to. I
There's no. Yeah, she must be in denial. Say no, he didn't know.
I swear like my sir I feel like he mentioned something about like, oh yeah, after all this occupation, we're gonna go through with this plan.
Maybe it's like an open secret.
Well, like they know it's gonna happen, but he doesn't really want to know how.
Yeah, There's that one guy who looks like Garma, the one who initially takes Cecily to their mansion,
Yeah,
and he's like confused when they're invading Frontier One because it's like a reconnaissance mission, and he's like, "This is so poorly defended. We could just easily take this now. I don't understand why they're not doing it." And it turns out that they're not interested in occupying that place at all because they just want to kill everyone. So he's like wondering about that. And then there's later when I forgot what Cecily's talking to
Samu,
Sharu,
Saru.
Zabine. She's like picking up on some things that like are weird to her, and he's like, well, maybe if you ask so and so, then you'll know what the meaning of bugs is.
Right.
So it did seem like things were happening. Maybe it was like a high clearance thing. But I'm willing to believe that the grandfather was in on it.
I think so. I don't know how he couldn't, but
And maybe just really hands off. He's half retired anyways.
he's very laissez-faire in his leadership.
That gets in the way. He just wants to read his Thomas Carlyle and yeah, Z-Book. He gets to be a useful part of the resistance because it turns out he knew someone who worked on the Gundam that they have lying around that they can't get to start.
Yep.
People think that there's a code, but it just needs to be rewired in a cat's cradle fashion that only people who knew the builder. Well, I don't know why I'm being coy. C-Book's mom.
Dr. Arno.
What was her name?
Dr.
Monica.
Arno.
Oh yes, Doctor. There's some interesting stuff there. Like they touch on it. There's everything that we've talked about before about people being used, technology, etc. There's some background there where Dr. Monica Arno really loves making Gundams. Really likes working on this work on a scientific
Biocomputers are her passion.
right, and so just like working on these killing machines is her only way to do it, I guess. Maybe she anticipated. I don't know. I guess she thought it was for the Federation, so maybe she was like, "Oh, this is fine." You never know when a reactionary government will spring up.
Come about.
And Seabook's dad is the one who's like I think more present, maybe raising them, and who didn't want to work on killing machines, so he's kind of a welder.
He welds. I think he
He
was
welds,
offered
which
at one
is
point to make killing machines, and he was like, "Fuck no."
yeah, that's an interesting detail. It's that's a shame. I liked him. He helped them escape. We didn't talk about that.
He was a stand up dude. He was standing for a father figure in a Gundam.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. Is this the first good parents that we see in a
The first ones are good or present.
like maybe Amuro's mom is a good person, but not a good mother. Like even in the novel, like there's some abandonment issues that she left him with.
She was super judgmental to poor
Yeah,
Amuro in the
and
films too. Father, I guess the father was okay until he got like oxygen poisoned.
right, but I guess he was like all right, but we don't get to see him be a good dad. I can imagine him being kind of absent too, maybe like always working on his Gundam.
Yeah,
But I guess it's like reading. I guess we don't know. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe um
I guess
pre Site 7 evacuation.
Camille's mom was okay.
Camille's mom, she's better than her dad, better than his dad.
His dad was kind of a shit. I'll
Yeah,
call
yeah.
that. He was like a triple crosser, I swear.
But here we have two parents who, okay, Monica's busy. Dr. Monica's busy, but she cares, and she gets to like be present in the story. Like they reunite. All this stuff about
She was a real figure.
yeah, it
She
was
was a
really
cool she
nice.
was a cool guiding force the entire time when she did show back up.
Yeah, it was really cool when like we talk about like this movie is really it is peak Gundam. It is everything that is Gundam is in it, even if like the plot is
It
choppy.
just has some pacing issues. That's all.
It's just like a it's I don't know, it's missing some limbs, but it's the soul is there.
It's a good Gundam nugget.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, well, the scene where she's like helping Seabook find Cecily when she's out in space, and the combination of like emotional advice and like I don't know, like philosophical advice and just like straight up technical, like set the readers for to scan for the frequency of body heat and turn on the biosensor, and it's really neat because the Gundam the biocomputer is a melding of machine and human anyways. So it's perfectly justified like within the lore or whatever, within in universe, but also it's a neat thing where like she has to be a parent giving him advice about finding the people you love and stuff.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah, it's very very touching. And yeah, she made the
I thought the cat's cradle wiring was kind of cute too. So like
yeah.
she makes the choice to go away and make a weapon, but
Got her kids
you,
in her heart.
yeah, yeah, exactly. You could tell she's thinking about Reese when she's doing it.
Mm-hmm. Like she immediately wasn't even like it's not a code. It's not. It just simply is. It's not even like I cracked it. It's just I understand this.
This is intuitive for me.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that sweet? Also later, like part of how Seabook like is like grows to like be okay with piloting that Gundam, the F91 is I forget which one of them says it. It was like, oh, so mom worked on this. Like, do you think there's a chance that she touched this machine? And they kind of like look at it like just like with like love. Like it's very sweet.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Reese was the one that said that, or maybe it was Book.
I keep going back and forth. I can in my mind's eye I can picture either of them say it. I watched this movie twice. I can't.
Well, I gotta watch it the one time, but I think it warrants a rewatch soon.
Yeah. The other thing about the cat's cradle, I'll say, they drew that like that feels like it'd be so challenging to draw. I know they kind of not cheated. Like that's I would never fault anyone if they didn't want to animate string interlacing within fingers. Like that is so detailed.
No, they did good. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no. When I was thinking about like the parts of the string that are slack versus the parts that are taut, like how the fingers move and like making the timing feel believable. They cheated a little bit with like some cuts where every time it cuts she's like a little bit further ahead, but still like those move it really sold. And it's a very important plot critical thing where all eyes are gonna be on what you do with those hands.
Right.
There's some really cool animation moments. I also liked if we're just like talking about like random things, I also liked the in the when they're escaping, when they get on that gun tank that ends up not working, like that was also side thing, like that kind of like exciting moment. It's like the beginning of Gundam where they get where Amuro finds the Gundam, fights off some Zaku immediately. Like
That was
the
like
music
that was
plays
a
and
clever subversion. Actually,
yeah,
that was really neat because I thought, oh, okay, here's F91, this shitty tank thing. They're gonna be
and
forced to
then like
fight, and they didn't though. They just continued to run.
yeah, like when they try to fight, like the cannon like burst and a kid dies, like it immediately like backfires. Like
Tomino killing
the
them all.
yeah, getting right to it. That beginning sequence is cinema. And then I think like okay, so do you wanna?
So
Oh, mm-hmm.
so Seabrook starts operating the F91 pretty quickly, pretty well. Like, he's kind of an armor prodigy. With his mom touching
Yeah.
the Gundam and engineering it.
It's so funny how
Um,
they're kind of like used to new type stuff, and it's like just get on the Gundam new type. Like it's not like there's no there's like nurturing bright figure. There's sort of oh you can pilot it. Get in that get in the robot.
Get in there. No, you're not running. Go. They did say a funny thing about like previous new types though, where it's like, oh yeah, they were a miserable bunch.
That is interesting. There has been time for people to get used to see what happens in these situations.
And again, it's at this point that the pacing gets a little
Yeah,
messy because he's successful at it, and then right after that, he's back on Frontier 4, trying to figure out what happened to Sicily.
he manages to sneak into her room. They have like a little conversation, but like it gets interrupted so quickly. Like the best she can do is keep him from getting shot and then play it off like, oh, I don't know what that was, and then go back to the role she was kind of preparing for.
Right.
She's like cutting her hair, and it's like the opposite of, in a Miyazaki movie, typically the heroine cuts her hair, and that's like the moment where she grows. But here she cuts her hair, and it's the moment where she like um gives up on who she used to be for a minute. I'll say about her hair too. Speaking of animation moments, like that is when the in the beginning when you see her like run away from the bedlam, like the hair like stood out so much to me. It was so like detailed and flowing. Like it's very like just on a, like a character design thing. There's like very I very interesting to look at. And it was so vibrant. And then I noticed like this. I noticed what it was like. Why is her hair different than I've seen like in like almost any other hair I've ever seen animated? And I realized that part of it was that the outline on her
Mm.
hair was just like a different shade of red. Mm?
It was a clever trick, yeah.
Yeah, like it interacted with the background a little differently because of that, and it just like felt like, yeah, I don't know. It's nice looking movie. I appreciated these touches. I like the character designs overall. I thought Seabook looked really cool. That one friend that kind of looks like Cyndi Lauper. Uh, the baby is like well animated. You got all these people like you see them and immediately it's like, oh, okay, I get who this is. Iron Mask, looks cool. When you realize like what a pathetic man he is, it's kind of funny to see like this like
it's
Terminator.
it's such a contrast with how cool he looks.
Yeah. It's the perfect thing. Like if we're talking about, like this reactionary grouping, like alt right, whatever, like this guy, there's something like very like what's the word? Overcompensating about him. Something kind of Elon Musk about his whole vibe.
Very, oh, I need a pickup truck because I have small weenie
Yeah.
vibe.
I need to wear this mask. Like at the end, like it's so funny. Like I'm cool with this format. I guess we just talk something and we bring it back to the ending. But like
Yeah.
at the end when he's Reflesia and Cecily and Seabook fight him off, like it's really scary, like interesting. Like he gets to just like get out of the cockpit. Apparently, the mask is also like part normal suit. Like or he's just like so like robot, and he like with his bare hands rips apart the cockpit and grabs her.
That was nuts. That was crazy. And it is terrifying because I don't think we've seen that before either.
Yeah, like thematically, it's like okay, he's abandoned his humanity. He's probably like got robot arms or whatever. And the whole time, like it's funny. Like he's the final villain, effectively, like functionally in the story. He unleashes the genocide Roombas onto Frontier One, and like his villain speech isn't like there's nothing thematic about it except the abandoning humanity thing that we whatever worshiping power that's like subtext maybe, but like what he's saying isn't there is no like search your feelings there is no like we're not so different you and I, what is man, a miserable pile of secrets, there's nothing of that. It's just like
Nice
I can
reference.
pilot the Gundam without my arms and legs. I can do like this and that. Like he's just talking about like his upgrades.
Just,
How
just, just
cool
how
is
how powerful he is.
like there's something kind of like I don't know, like Patrick Bateman talking about Huey Lewis about his speech at the end. He just sort of like talking about just bragging about the stuff he has.
My ego is expanded to allow me to carry out my duties. I'm a pathetic man who lost his wife to that man, Theo.
He's so funny. I love Iron Man. He really did capture the pathetic weakness behind these people. Like what are the I feel like fascists kind of like they love the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout, or I don't know if you see like like fascist weebs on the internet. Like doesn't make me sound cool certainly, but you see these people that are like just on the internet, these like teens who think they're edgy and cool, and they put up like the most masculine looking things, and
Like, oh, badass, yeah.
like did you see that Ron DeSantis ad that was like unofficially leaked, but it was like his campaign put it out, where it's like that MGMT song "Little Dark Age" is playing, and it's like this like macho kind of Top Gun imagery, and it ends with like this like Nazi symbol at the end.
No, I didn't see that.
I don't know if it's worth derailing. I'll send you the link. I don't know if you. Uh, oh, well, here's a picture.
Oh my god. No way.
So, like, officially, Ron DeSantis's campaign didn't produce it, but it was an account that was. It was like with their
Associated.
unofficial. Yeah.
God,
Pretty scary, but it shows like that kind of like posturing, that kind of like worship of power.
is that God Emperor Warhammer 40K thing that got
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah, and that's entirely what this Iron Mask phenomena is.
This one like a bit of like weakness or like embarrassment, and then all of this like all these layers of like, no, I got to be strong and never can never be embarrassed again. I'm just gonna devote myself entirely to a violent cause.
The masculinity and the will to power.
That's what's really been interesting about watching these Gundam things is it really is like Tomino like very earnestly trying to grapple with like the origins of power, totalitarianism, and war, and the like he understands them in social terms, but he's never far from like the psychological aspects, like just the personal aspects. So much of it has to do with the kind of wounded masculinity that these people carry. Like I'm reminded of Char in Char's counterattack with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
Like the way he clings to her and is like you like he's like looking for a mother figure, and like that's very self aware, not self aware. I don't want to put that on Tomino, but that's very that's something that you hear. You know, women complain about men wanting a mother more than men like are aware of their hangups about that.
definitely. Tommy has his finger on the pulse when it comes to these.
And like the magic of Gundam is that it gets to be this like there is some, you know, you can like pull these things out, you can tease them out, and but also Iron Mask is so funny. Every time he shows up, like he just talks about his divorce or his mask.
There's a part of it that's kind of Team Rocket ish in its absurdisms.
Yeah, like it turns out Cecily's mom, random thing. I'm just talking about like her stepdad, who's like this like kind of like weaselly kind of guy. I thought he's not like this. He's not exactly a stepdad who stepped up either. He's just kind of there. I'm not sure what Cecily's mom sees in him. I thought it was so funny when Cecily gets picked up and he just gives the most like evil laugh in the world.
Yeah. It was very, very, very cartoony.
There's a fun camp to this to Tomino touch. Never, yeah. So Cecily's mom, I thought she was gonna be like an absent, but she was there. She did raise her. Actually, I did say that she got won over by her granddad. But I think it was more maybe the more the situation. I think she wasn't lying when she said it just kind of happened that she was gonna become the figurehead of this thing.
I guess at that point she doesn't know if Seabook and friends are alive or not, if they made it out. So
Yeah, but then when the grandfather gives her like the Mufasa speech where they're like on the field and there's like deer in the background. He's saying like this is our place and it is our place to look over all the world and make it prosper.
everything the light touches is ours.
Yeah, and that came out before Lion King, so yeah, uh,
It probably originated with Hamlet somewhere,
yeah.
maybe.
I'm sure there's something to. Yeah, I'm sure there's something. They ripped off the Star Wars soundtrack, so there's this give and take.
Yeah, they kind of did.
Like, so the grandfather gives that speech, and to be fair, Cecily doesn't say like, "Oh, good point." She says like, because like Cecily's mom didn't like that world. She retreated and raised her apart from that house from Cosmo Babylonia. And she says like, "I am my mother's daughter," so she gets to like keep her reservations about.
About these.
Yeah. Is there another word that we can use for like capital A aristocracy? But like tied with this idea that there are like just like better people who are who deserve
Um,
to be ruling over.
Elitism. Um,
Now all these words like have gotten like there's no word that's been reserved for that. Like we've been so removed from being consciously aware of an aristocratic class of people in charge, even though it's probably not too far away from our current. Like, we have not reached a point where democracy has gone too far.
no.
But, you know, this came out in 1991, is a very, like, end of history kind of time.
Oh yeah, with the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's interesting. So Tomio abandons that politics and does this family drama instead.
Yeah, I like the things that they talk about, like the idea that like liberalism, as we saw it in 1991, was the end point of democracy. That's as democratic as it could get.
Right. Absolute rulers, absolutism.
Oh,
Absolutism. How's that?
okay. What if we called it aristocratic absolutism?
There we go. Nice. I like that.
That's yeah.
And the farthest left we can go is this neoliberal democracy of the Federation. God, you're right. That is so 1991.
Because I'm sure like you could tweak it and make it sound more democratic by just like using like technocratic language, and then some people believe the Pete Buttigieg's of the world should be in charge because he went to the most college out of everyone.
Right. He's the smartest.
It,
Let's put this computer in charge. It'll evolve to the cosmic AC someday.
that's still it's still possible. We'll get a computer villain in a Gundam. Maybe that's too inhuman for Tomino's tastes.
That could be thematically interesting with like the biocomputers and this Gundam new type link.
Did you watch Mission Impossible, the new one, the Dead Reckoning?
I have not no.
Okay, how much do you know about it? I don't know if it's more fun to go in blind.
I don't know shit about it.
Okay, do you mind a spoiler on the premise?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Spoil away.
Okay, so the bad guy in Dead Reckoning is a rogue AI.
Oh wow.
So it's not connected to any state or non-governmental organization or any kind of Blofeld figure. It's the AI of unknown origin that kind of exists in the cloud or whatever. And the way they get to have like a human character is that there's just this guy that has like a little Bluetooth thing in his ear who just does whatever the AI tells him. Like who's like religiously
What?
devoted to like carrying out the will of the AI.
That sounds hilarious.
Yeah. It works. It's fun.
Okay, I feel like I need to see that.
Bump it up. It's pretty neat. There's a lot to enjoy in that Mission Impossible movie.
Not to make that darker, but I think relatively recently there was like a rogue AI drone that like
Oh
bombed a
shit.
village in Libya. Yeah, and like no one will claim it.
Oh, like we're not even sure like what.
Apparently the UN theory is that this is like a rogue artificial intelligence, so we need to start making rules about how AI is used.
Oh,
Because I mean, there's talk
damn.
about like robotics on in warfare and whatnot, but
And the idea that you could just send these out and like teach a machine learning algorithm to identify targets, and that it would without independent of anyone's particular plan just start bombing people.
right, which is so fucked. So they're hopefully trying to beat it out before it gets to that. But
Damn, I have to look into that. That sounds scary.
I guess that was a good point to talk about the bugs. Speaking of AI and all the crazy killing people bullshit.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think like what we'd end up jumping over. I'll just say this: I didn't care for the bugs.
I thought Tomino's motivation for putting them in there was, I guess, kind of interesting.
Was it just like because they didn't want to do the gas thing? They needed something more dynamic.
So his thought was that audiences were becoming more like mediated and out of touch with reality. So doing like a gas thing again wouldn't have worked out as well. So that's why he did the bug thing.
I don't know the bug thing. It just like didn't have impact for me. That's an interesting thing to say, but I don't know. I feel like in Zeta Gundam, when they went to that outpost that was gassed, that was haunting.
I'll agree that this felt more cartoony and more anime in its violence.
Yeah, it needed to be something that could be deployed and that, in theory, would be able to eliminate a population. When they say like we have machines that can kill, that will only destroy people, and then it's these Beyblades tearing through everything. It's like it's not even the most efficient way to do it.
What was Iron Mask's motivation for it? He's like, oh, that this way no one's pulling the trigger or something.
Oh, that's yeah. It's like thematically, yeah, it is there. Like everything you were talking about, these this kind of like heartless machine logic killing everyone.
That somehow no one's responsible for.
Yeah, it's not every day that you get like a Rakoa in your hands who will just do it for you.
Right, because she wants to feel like a woman.
Yeah. No, there's no way Iron Mask would allow that.
No, no, he'd be
A
far too
woman?
he'd be far too embarrassed.
No. In effect too, like I guess it was like you gotta have like for your climax like that those scenes where they're fighting off those bugs. It wasn't made clear to me when they cleared them all out. I guess the idea that the bugs once released would somehow multiply. So there's like a nano machine that out there they'll just like use the materials to replicate themselves so that they can.
I built like a hive over.
It's a scary thought, but uh, in theory, I think it's like very powerful. Like the thematic stuff that you're talking about is definitely, I definitely see that. Like that's very well put.
I totally see where you're coming from with the presentation of it though versus
Hmm.
what we've seen previously.
Like even just comparing it like within the movie, like not even going back to Zeta or whatever.
Just beginning of the movie was so impactful having these.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like the beginning is so terrifying and like heartbreaking and
Well, the mobile suits are so much better designed than these fucking spinny top things, and
yeah.
every death in that first half hour had a lot of meaning to it too.
I know, it's a tall order. Like how can you make a scary thing that's also like small and modular enough to be like the point of this is to just catch people. Like it I feel like a bunch of small things is better than
One big terrifying thing. I think it'd be interesting if they were more squid like or more like the
yeah, I was thinking War of the Worlds.
Rafflesia thing. Yeah.
Oh, and if it was like if it tied with a visual motif of the Rafflesia, that would like tie things together. Like, hold on, let me call Tomino. I gotta tell him about this. I
You have to redo F91. Make the bugs more bug like.
yeah, so here it's me, your cousin. You know that new robot you've been looking for? Yeah, they did some fun stuff. I do like the application of the beams, like the beam flag emblems, the beam sword that they spin around,
Oh,
those
that
shields.
plasma shield was neat too.
Yeah, I liked how like from a distance you can see it just like looks like a hexagon or whatever, like a shape. But then like up close you see the pulsing kind of like laser quality.
Yeah, that was
It
well
was one of the
done.
things I liked in Force Awakens. I a lot of people thought that what's his name, Adam Driver's lightsaber looked dumb.
I thought it was cool. The with the guards.
Yeah. It seems like more dangerous for you. But yeah, but it looked cool. But one thing I liked is that like the stuff that's coming out of the sides, like the tips aren't like clean. It's not like that like clean cylinder that like from a normal lightsaber. It was like jutting out, like jagged and like uneven in a really like cool way. Like it made it more like fiery and passionate.
It was kind of janky looking, like, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
I guess you could tell, like, oh, he made that himself.
Right, yeah, that's a homebrew thing. That speaks to that. It's like one of the strengths. I never even bothered to watch the third one of those new ones,
Oh,
but there's some really
that's
cool design decisions.
sorry. That movie with that third movie had a shit ton of pacing issues. That one was.
That's another like compromised thing that was supposed to be one thing got changed last minute. But you know,
It's worse. It's worse there than it is here.
yeah, J.J. Abrams doesn't have the Tomino touch. Thing about Tomino is he cares and he's got like a voice. I know the way that
Right.
anime is collaborative. You have like these designers and these animators and like these writers. You know, the Disney machine um, is a different beast altogether.
Right. Right. Because even if your work is shafted in a Japanese studio, it could still be something.
Yeah, and there's no way getting around how personal this feels.
Yeah.
Like there's a human touch in F91. It is not my favorite. I guess I'm still like War in the Pocket. I think is like just like works. I think it's like just like a really good story, but I do miss the Tomino flavor.
It's complete too, though. War in the
Yeah,
Pocket, like, and that's where this F91 is. It's less good, and it's not its fault that it's less good, but
yeah, but it is a stumble.
yeah,
I was so disappointed. I thought Victory Gundam was gonna be like the next part, only to find out like no, F91 is just like this strange remainder of this era.
this artifact. I guess Victory's what, another 30, 40 years down
Yeah.
this timeline.
Any other things you want to hit on with the about F91?
Um, I don't think we about covered it. I guess overall, Tomi's goals was accomplished. He did do a Gundam that was broken away from the confines of Char and Xeon and Amuro and Zeta, and
Yeah.
he did an interesting work here, and it was it was
Right. We
good.
got to evolve the themes and change focus, create a new aesthetic language for Gundam while still being recognizably Gundam.
Right. So I think they're successful, and I do appreciate it for what it is. There
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a weird flow.
is it my favorite? No, but that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just remembered like Anna Marie's like missing subplot.
Oh yeah,
Eh. But it's there and it's not there. Like we find out that she defected, and we didn't even get to see the scene where she defects.
no, it just kind of showed up. I was confused.
Yeah. It was important to keep that scene because it sets up why they're able to fight off the bugs at the end because they find out there's some kind of plan. And they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this do we have this information? Oh, yeah, it's accurate because it came from Anna Marie. Can we trust?" And she's just in the background while they're talking about like this. Is how we're introduced to her
portrayal
defection yeah, is her being in the background while other people talk about it.
is they're painting her mobile suit gold.
Oh yeah, we did get to have a scene of them painting. That was important to keep instead. It was a neat that's that kind of stuff that adds flavor. I love like that they talk so much about how stuff works. Like you want it to be a different color, well, someone has to paint it to be that way.
Uh,
That's just how we live in a world with yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I'm stalling. I just like
no, I feel like there's chunks that we might have missed out on, but
right, but that's made that joke 3 times already. But what is more appropriate for the F91 podcast than to have random things that seem to be missing?
right. Oh, we want Luxury Gundam? Nah.
Yeah, let's call it a night. The story is far from was it this is only the beginning.
This is just the beginning. I wish
uh
that were true.
yeah.
All right, listeners,
Um
have a pleasant evening. If there's any F91 defenders, holdouts,
rise up.
rise
Rise, I
up.
want to hit.
Go ahead and nail us for having it not be our favorites.
Democracy has gone too far from everyone deciding to hate on F91. The people with true discerning tastes must. I don't want to. I don't want to like. Whatever. Yeah, that's the note I'm going out on. Good night.
Have a pleasant evening.